Hey friends, Mike here, Central Texas Homestead. It is March the 14th, Tuesday. Rochelle is off to work. She's got to do a training, so she has to actually go into the office. I'll be starting my work here in a little bit, but I wanted to harvest a bunch of greens. So we've got some collard greens, we've got some kale, and I'm gonna go ahead and cook these and then can these. I'm gonna pressure can these. I'm probably gonna do it quart size, 10 pounds of pressure for 90 minutes because there's gonna be some meat in there. Some homemade bacon and some ham. So let's go into the kitchen. Let's make some greens. All right guys, we've got a bunch of greens here. I'm gonna really get a good clean on them. Really get them clean, and then I'm gonna pull the stem out, and then we'll take them to the cutting board, and we're gonna chop them up, and I'll start cooking these before we pressure can them. So let's do that. Okay guys, we are in the kitchen. We've cleaned the greens. We have our ingredients over here. Let me bring you in closer and kind of show you what we're going to be doing. All right guys, here's our cast of characters. We've got our greens, we've got kale, and we've got collard greens, vinegar, garlic powder, onion powder, citric acid. Of course, we've got Miss Lippy's swamp mix. Love it. And I like the pork and good for these greens. I'm going to combine those two together. Homemade chicken stock, onions, and then we've got our homemade bacon diced and some ham. So we're gonna go ahead, I'll bring you over to the pot, and we're gonna start sauteing up the proteins, and then we'll start adding the onions, and then we'll cut the greens and add those. In goes the bacon. Now we made this bacon by scratch, guys, and we did a video on that. I'll put the video link in there. I would encourage you to make your own bacon. Now, in addition to slicing the bacon, I dice it just for this purpose. for cooking things like this. It's nice to have your own pork. Now what I like to do too is to help get the fat to render is I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there just to kind of kiss the pot so it'll start to grab the fats out of the bacon and the ham. So we're going to cook this down for a little bit and then we'll bring you back. Let me show you guys how I cut up the greens. We'll come down here and take a look. So guys, after I take the spine out of the greens, I like to take the greens like this. So I'll take 2 collard greens, maybe a kale, a collard green, some kale, and then a collard green. I'll take them, I'll roll them like this, and then I'll slice them up like this. Or you could go smaller if you want, and then dice them up. But that's how I'll do that. And I'll set these in a bowl aside until our bacon and ham is rendered. And then we'll continue on here. I'll show you one more time. You take your greens, take your kale, greens. The kale is nice, guys. It's going to add a little pepper, little pepperiness to it, giving it some flavor. I like them chiffonaded. Chiffonade, that's what that is. Not too thin, but that helps the cooking time. Really nice, and they're all mixed up here. Put some kale in there. We'll roll it up. Collard greens, kale, roll it up. You could go down the center if you want them smaller. Remember guys, these are gonna cook down in the pot. We've got our bacon and ham rendering. Nice. Low and slow, folks. Don't turn it up high. We've got it on low to medium low. You don't want to burn that bacon. You want to just render that nice and slow. Okay? We'll continue to chop our greens, collards, some kale. I like to roll it tight so I get a good chiffonade. We'll just keep going till we get it done. Okay guys, bacon and ham is rendered. We're gonna add onions. And guys, I will provide the recipe for this. The good classic southern greens. So we got the heat on really low. We're just gonna let this kind of saute for a little bit, get those onions kind of translucent. Okay guys, at this point we're gonna go ahead and add our chicken stock. Get that in the pot going. And then we're going to start slowly adding our greens, working them in. And these will shrink down. Oops. And I want to kind of toss them as I enter them into the pot. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and season with some salt, pepper. We're going to season actually twice. Miss Lippy's Porkin' Good and Miss Lippy's Swamp Mix. I'm going to go ahead and put a little citric acid. Keep that freshness. Onion powder. Garlic powder. And then we're going to continue adding the greens. We'll fill this pot up. And you'll see this will shrink down a bunch. And these are going to go into quart jars. I'm going to let that shrink down a little bit, and we'll come back and we'll continue to add them greens. Okay guys, I refilled the pot with the rest of the greens. It's starting to cook down. I like to kind of do it in layers. Now I'm going to add about a quarter cup of vinegar. That's a brand new bottle. So a little acidity. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a couple tablespoons of sugar just to balance that bitterness. And then we're going to cook it down and we'll bring you right back. Okay guys, so the greens are done. They really shrunk down, but that's what happens when you do greens. So I've got my quart jars right here. Probably only going to fill maybe 2 of them, but we're going to go ahead and fill these up. This is going to be fun. There we go. Now, since there is meat in this recipe, we have to pressure can them for 90 minutes. We'll pack them in there really good. And then we'll add the liquid. There's nothing better than having some really good greens. And I tasted them, guys. They taste wonderful. Pull this off the shelf. Put them in a pot. Heat them up. Remember, the pressure cooking is also going to tenderize them as well. Okay. These jars were sanitized the same way that we always do with our one-step spray. I'm going to continue this, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, we want to clean the lids thoroughly with a little bit of vinegar, white vinegar. Make sure everything seals properly. We have our sanitized lids. Vinegar as well. We've got our pressure canner going. Finger tight, guys. Don't bear down on it. It'll warp the rings. Finger tight like that. That. There we go. Now let's put it in the pressure canner. I've got it preheating. So we got 3 quarts, which is fine. Just Rochelle and I, when we go to harvest again here in a few weeks, we'll go ahead and do another 3 quarts. And we'll just keep going until we fill the pantry. So those are setting in there really nice, solid. I'm going to put the lid on old Big Bertha here. Again, I'm just going to tighten them evenly. Yeah, there's no need to be scared about pressure canning, guys. Just take your time, watch a lot of videos. You can read about how to do it. So these are quarts. There's protein in here. There's meat. So 10 pounds, 10 to 12 for 90 minutes, guys. All right, we got a nice even seal on there. I'm happy about that. When this starts to steam, we're gonna let it steam for 10 minutes before we put our weight. 10 pounds right here. So we'll be back when that happens. All right, guys, we're steaming. We're gonna let that go for 10 minutes, and then we'll put the weight on, and we'll get the pressure to 10. So I'm gonna set the timer. All right, 10 minutes have gone by, guys. We're going to put the 10 pounds of weight. When that gets to 10 pounds of pressure, 10 to 12, we'll start the clock for 90 minutes. All right, guys, we are at 110 to 112. I've lowered the heat to kind of medium And our shaker, our weight is shaken. So we're going to maintain this temperature for 90 minutes. I'm setting the timer now. All right, guys. This went 90 minutes and it's been sitting here for like 2 hours. I let the steam come out. So we'll do the big reveal. Da, da, da. It's cooled down. Let me go ahead and we'll move them over to our bar mats over here. They're still kind of simmering a little bit. It looks great. This is good food. Put in the cabinet, the cupboards. This year we've got to rebuild our stock because last year's drought, we really used a lot of our food stock. What are you doing? You ain't getting no greens. All right, guys. So we've got 3 nice quarts of greens that we can put in our food stores. You know, last year was a tough year, so this year we're going to really be canning a lot of dry pack, green beans, things like that. The carrots we are still going to grow some fresh carrots, but only a small section. We still want to be able to have those fresh carrots as well too. Going to be canning a lot of green beans. We depleted our supply. We're going to be making a lot of sauces as well too. We've got plenty of pickles. We really haven't been eating a lot of the pickles. But yeah, this year we're excited about starting the garden. Now, I was going to plant next week, but they're talking upper 30s, so I'm going to wait another weekend. So not this weekend, but the next weekend. We've got all the plants just sitting there ready to hit the soil. But I hope you guys had some fun with this. Pressure canning. It's easy to do. Don't be scared of the canner. Like I said, I'm not a YouTube channel that does, you know, canning. There's a lot more folks out there that do that. We'll take a picture of this for the 365 challenge. North Texas, homestead gardening, cooking, and a lot more. Joe and Greg and Pops. Hello, Pops. But we're having fun with that challenge. We're having fun talking to our community and our friends. We really appreciate you guys watching the channel. Hey, we're growing every day. We're having fun, and hopefully we're able to teach folks. And maybe you'll learn something new. I know I'm always learning. But hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll put the recipe, I promise. I won't get lazy. Thanks for watching. Share this with your friends on Facebook, social media. Let's get more people involved in gardening and just doing things around the house, cooking, preserving, and planting plants. Until next time, guys, God bless. Thanks for watching the channel. We'll see you here soon.